This is a bad movie. Before we get started, click on that red subscribe button and the notification bell, that way you know whenever I post a new video. Kevin Bacon is known for being a famous person who acts in movies and also has a band. Fortunately, he has also spent the last few years getting name-dropped in Marvel movies, so that's neat too. Bacon is also known for being the namesake of a game called 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. What you do is you pick a random actor and then use 6 movies to connect them to Kevin Bacon. Example: Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe was in Virtuosity with Denzel Washington, who was in Remember the Titans with Ryan Gosling, who was in Blade Runner 2049 with Harrison Ford, who was in The Fugitive with Tommy Lee Jones, who was in No Country for Old Men with Josh Brolin, who was in Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon. The reason that we just played 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon is because it was significantly more entertaining than watching You Should Have Left. The latest trash fire from writer-director David Koepp is about as formulaic as you can possibly get in a horror movie. Kevin Bacon, who occasionally does good movies like Footloose, Tremors, Animal House, and Mystic River, for some reason decided to sign on the dotted line and get a paycheck to star in this rotten, worm-infested apple of a film. Bacon plays a guy named Theo who is married to a young trophy wife named Susanna. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was so disinterested watching this that I had to go on Wikipedia 5 minutes after the credits rolled just to look up the names of their characters for the purpose of writing this review. So Susanna is a famous actress, and Theo is a retired banker who has a ton of cash. They have a clearly broken relationship, even as they crack jokes about him being an old guy, and people often recognize Theo as that one guy who maybe killed his old wife in a bathtub. Wait, what? He was tried for her murder and found not guilty, but has constant nightmares about the drowning, so maybe he did, maybe he didn't. The movie will explain all of this with a really lame and dumb plot twist around the 90-minute mark, which is when the film thankfully ends. You Should Have Left opens with Susanna and Theo traveling with their young daughter Ella to stay at a house in Wales, while Susanna films a movie in London. They pick a nice-looking house on some undisclosed house-sharing website and drive out into the countryside in their expensive SUV. Things immediately go south when it's clear that the house is absolutely haunted, and Theo can't seem to move a single inch without waking up from a nightmare. You Should Have Left employs every single dumb horror movie trope you can possibly imagine in attempting to make us feel scared about the scary house. Theo writes in a journal. Sometimes things he didn't write show up in the journal. Lights turn on after being turned off. Doors randomly open and close. Shadows creep along the wall. The entire house is inexplicably way bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside. Things bump and creak. Among the many egregious sins that this movie commits, this is probably the worst. None of this is even remotely scary. You Should Have Left is somehow rated R, and I have no clue why. The language, maybe? There was nothing horrifying. Every single jump scare was predictable, and without an emotional investment in the story and characters, what exactly was there to be afraid of? In the 1980 film Friday the 13th, Kevin Bacon's character Jack is murdered when the unseen killer stabs him through the throat with an arrow from underneath a bed. That one scene is infinitely more terrifying than anything that happens to Kevin Bacon in You Should Have Left. Now let's talk about the rest of the characters. Amanda Seyfried plays Susanna, and she seems pretty bored. Avery Essex plays the daughter Ella. She's passable, but completely unremarkable. There are a few people on the movie set in the beginning, and there's a guy that runs a small general store a few miles from the house in Wales, but that's the entirety of the cast. That's all. I do try and give writer-director David Koepp a lot of leeway since the man wrote the screenplay for one of my all-time favorite movies, Jurassic Park. He has proven himself to be a significantly better writer than a director, and is actually the 9th most successful screenwriter on the planet by gross box office receipts. You Should Have Left is a bare-bones, boring examination of grief or bad dreams or something. It brings nothing new to the horror movie table and turns out to be a massive misfire for Blumhouse Productions. This is the 3rd Blumhouse movie I've reviewed this year after The Hunt and The Invisible Man, both of which at least give you a watchable experience. If you want to see me talk about a great horror movie, my review of 1982's The Thing is going up this Friday, so check out that movie instead if you haven't seen it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, click on that subscribe button. You can also like or share the video. All of that helps the channel grow. If you somehow managed to survive watching You Should Have Left, sound off down in the comments below and let me know what you thought, and I'll see you this Friday at 9 a.m.